So here we have a very special treat. This is a 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Redeye Widebody Jailbreak. This one's also a last call, with this one being the 23 model. And it's nasty in person, I'll tell you the truth. And then this one comes in Destroyer Gray. And then we have the black Alcantara Napa leather interior. Powertrain, of course, consists of a 6.2 liter supercharged V8 engine, mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission, and that gives us 797 horsepower, 707 pound-feet of torque. As we get around to the front end here, we have our LED daytime running lights. I believe we still have high-intensity discharge headlamps here, but my gosh, it's a wicked vehicle. It really is. Just stunning. Look how wide these tires are. Gosh. And then here we have 20-inch, not sure those are alloy or aluminum, but I love how they're kind of concave. The design there is this is just a nasty looking car. And we get passive keyless entry on both doors. We have our memory seat functions here. You just hit the S, hold the number you want to set it to, and then you can just hit that number to recall it. And then also over here we have our power mirror controls. You can pick a side and adjust using that dial. We do have blind spot monitors and they're heated. And then we have one-touch automatic down windows. And then power door lock controls are right here. Harman Kardon premium sound system, bottle holder, little storage pocket here. That was interesting. And then our headlamp controls are here. We can toggle the auto mode there. And then trunk release, gauge cluster brightness, all of that. Hood release. And we have a foot pedal parking brake. And we do get a power tilt telescoping steering wheel, and that's nice. And then here we have our power seat bottom with power lumbar support. And then of course you want to get to that rear seat, just pull up here. And I'm not gonna try it, but you can maybe fit somebody back there. Let's go ahead and pop the trunk from the front here. Fuel cap is there. As we come around to the back end here, I want to give a huge shout out to Auto Collection of Murfreesboro for letting me review this car today. I'll leave a link below in the description if you want to go ahead and cop it for yourself. But trunk space here. As you can see, everything's so wrapped in the plastic, the floor mats, all of that. And then, let's see if we can get underneath here. There's a Harman Kardon sub, and I believe we have an inflator kit back there. But there's the battery. Close that back up. And I mean, that sounds just so menacing. And also, if you want to pop the trunk from the back, button's right there. But man, just listen to that. Love that sound. As we come around to the front passenger seat, we got a manual seat bottom, seat back, no lumbar. There's that there. And then if you want to flatten the rear seats, pull up on the strap here. And then you can fold that pretty much flat and run longer objects through. And then our anchors are back in there. Then we have a lockable glove compartment here. 12 volt over here, and then we have that same netted side pocket that we have on the driver's side. And there's a 6.2 liter supercharged V8. Let's go ahead and hop in the driver's seat. So first and foremost, love the Alcantara steering wheel. I love the feel of that, just how easy it is to grip, and it just, It's luxurious and then menacing at the same time, I think. I love that. Only 53 miles on this one. Over here to the radio, I have the nav up here so we can just pull up the map there. And then we can zoom in and out. You even see the speed limit, all of that. Then you have the menu over here. I think I fat fingered it. So then you can go back here, type in a destination or an address, whatever, just depending on how you want to set that up. Set up favorites, go to an intersection. Now for media, we do get AM, FM, XM radio, Bluetooth audio, and then we do get wired Apple CarPlay, Android Auto compatibility. Dual zone automatic climate controls. We can adjust the temperature here, fan direction here, hit that controls button, and we can toggle our heated, cooled seats. And we have 2 stages for both of those, for the driver, front passenger, and then we can heat the steering wheel for the driver as well. And then our apps, everything's pretty much right here. So from the projection manager to the heated, cooled seats, we can do all of that. SRT mode, we can set that however we want. So I'm thinking we might have, do we have wireless CarPlay here? You can never tell. Some of these cars will have it and others won't, and it's the same system, but I know you at least have the wired one. And of course we have our performance pages. So we can go in here and basically get a look at everything from the oil pressure to the power we're getting out here. There's just so much that you can go through. And it's really neat. I love the performance pages when you have an SRT oriented vehicle. And then to pair your device, pretty easy to do. It'll just walk you through on your phone. And then if you want to change your units, you can go from US to metric or set up a custom one. Language, you can change that. And then all of your other options are there. Now your backup camera, guidelines follow, usually turn the steering wheel. I'm glad we still have that. And then down here we have volume here, and then we can click that to turn the system off. Tune knob here, launch control here, parking sensors, traction control. And then you can hit that SRT button and then pull up the dashboard here. There's just so much that you can do here. I don't know how to work half this stuff, honestly. So very neat. And the more you get used to the car, the more you'll want to love all that. But we can adjust our fan speed down here for the AC if we don't want to use a screen. Auto mode, we can toggle that on and off. And then we can adjust either temperature on the sides there, AC toggle, etc. But for the shifter, pull this lever, reverse neutral drive, come over here, you can manually shift there, or you can use the paddle shifters behind the steering wheel, and it'll show you what gear you're in right there. And then we do have bottle holders here. Center console cubby space, pretty good size for a sports coupe. 2 USB-A ports and aux input and a 12 volt. Then up here, sunglasses holder. I'm gonna move the sunshade for the sunroof. And then we have our universal garage door transmitter there. And you can one-touch auto open and shut, sliding. Love that it goes all the way back. You can vent it as well if you want to. There's a view of the back seat from up here. And then back to the steering wheel. Blinkers are here. And the windshield wipers are here as well, so you can go through your intermittent, then you have low, high, and then push that in for that front wiper fluid, and then toggle your high beams there. Paddle, again, the paddle shifter is behind the steering wheel, and then you can go through your track list, radio station presets, all of that there, and then your volume right here. And then you can use these 4 arrows to go through your gauge cluster. There are plenty of views there in typical Chrysler fashion. And this is one of my favorite systems to deal with. I have it on my Pacifica Hybrid I have, and I just like that you can go through everything, and then you can see all that you want to see. Tire pressure, coolant, trans temp, all of that is available to you. And then you can even see your performance, and then you can see your fuel economy. So you get everything. You don't have to pick between, you know, based on what trim. Some cars will show you all the power inputs, you can't find the fuel economy numbers. But Bluetooth buttons are there, voice recognition, cruise controls here, push button start, and finally we have our key fobs here, and we do have the red key here. Remote start is there. But now to the fun part. Let's go ahead and take this 23 Challenger SRT Hellcat Redeye Widebody out on the road for a test drive. So starting the test drive in this Challenger Jailbreak, it just sounds so good. It sounds absolutely incredible. It's really the only way to describe it. And plenty of space in here from the driver's seat. I'm 6'3", excuse me. And even with the sunroof, I still have about an inch or two of headroom, so that's not a big issue for me driving this thing. And what's great about this car is even driving it in the sport mode here, just in stop and go traffic, light traffic, I guess, it's still not difficult to drive. I don't feel like the car is getting away from me. It's easy to drive normally. And I say that because not all cars of this nature allow you to do that. Now, of course, it's still a heavy vehicle, as Challengers tend to be, but it doesn't really show it when you put your foot into this thing. And it's always ready to go. It's always trying to get away from you too, so keep that in mind, as in most supercharged vehicles, but especially things of Hellcat nature with these supercharged V8s that they throw in here, Chrysler does. These things are so tail happy. You don't ever really have full traction, especially coming out of a slowdown or a stop there and you gun it. But that's what makes them so much fun to drive. Now you do have the ability to use launch control, but it's just not practical where I am. Now, if you're racing or something like that, it's definitely helpful to have if you're on the track or whatever. But I mean, what's fun is just how quick this thing is. Like, wow. And I can just feel, I haven't even opened her up yet. I'm gonna give it a little bit. I'm not gonna give it full throttle, but I'm gonna give it some getting on the interstate here. Just so we can hear it. But here we go. Woo! God dog. My gosh. Now, the traction control system in this Jailbreak is a lot more impressive than I was expecting. So even as I was just pulling, I could feel the tires loose, but the rear end did not get away from me at all. So I'm extremely impressed by that. I mean, gosh. And it just wants to redline. That's all it wants to do, especially in sport mode. It wants to go. And my gosh, that was incredible. Wow. And what's great is even in sport mode, I'm gonna put it into the auto mode here. But I mean, even in sport mode, when you're not giving it throttle, it's pretty tame. You just have that light hum of 797 horsepower going through this exhaust. But other than that, I mean, it's so laid back, and that's what makes this such a good option in my opinion. I mean, it's stupid fast, but if you just want to drive it around as a daily, that shouldn't be a big deal. But I would just, oh my gosh, I would just want to keep my foot in this thing at all times. It's just so much fun to drive, so much fun. So for the rest of the test drive, I'm just gonna keep this thing in eco mode because I feel like we kind of got the point in terms of just how much fun this car is, how fast it is, just how great the performance is. But I wanna go over everything else while I still have time. So ride quality is stiff. Of course, that's what you can expect from a vehicle like this. Not necessarily uncomfortable, but the way the seats are bolstered up and things of that nature, my wider stature, it's hard to fit in there, so I probably wouldn't be leaning back like this while I was driving. I kind of have this seat setting for the camera view more so as opposed to the my overall comfort. And this thing is $154,950, so it's not cheap. It is a Challenger, but I mean, it's a jailbreak last call, so keep that in mind as well, with less than 60 miles when I'm done with it. And another great thing about this car is it does have 800 horsepower, but just driving in the eco mode, this is probably where I drive this thing most of the time, just because it's just good. It's a good city driving mode. It's not doing too much, but it's also not limiting the car too much, if that makes sense. Like, obviously you have 800 horsepower in your sport mode, but I mean, your eco mode is not gonna have anything, it's not gonna take it down to 100 horsepower or something like that. So it's easier to drive in this mode. It's more fuel efficient. It's not as loud. And of course you can set up your custom mode and do what you want. There's so many ways to configure this, but I just like this car because you can daily drive this, whether you want to keep your foot to the floor or if you want to drive in eco mode and just stunt, and then if you want to race somebody, you're ready to do that, or take it to the track, it's ready to go. So just a great option in terms of an everyday sports car, super sports car, let me put it that way. It's about an exotic. And though this isn't a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, I do feel like if you were gonna spend 200 grand on a muscle car, I would just go ahead and get this, because this is gonna be pretty much way faster. It's gonna sound just as good, especially supercharged, but I'm also new school as well. So it's just, especially if you're into muscle cars and you are new school like myself, millennial, you definitely will not be disappointed in this 2023 Dodge Challenger Hellcat Redeye Jailbreak.